Princess Lyra stood by the large window in the royal palace, looking out at the 3 moons of her home world. Her blue skin glowed softly in the moonlight, and her silver eyes held tears she refused to let fall. Today was her last day as a daughter of the Astral Empire. Tomorrow, she would become nothing more than a political gift. "Your Highness." The voice of her attendant broke the silence. "The Emperor requests your presence." Lyra nodded and followed the attendant through the crystal hallways. Her steps were steady, but her heart raced. Father never called for her unless it was to remind her of her failure. In the grand throne room, Emperor Theron sat tall and imposing. His blue skin was darker than Lyra's, marked with the royal patterns that showed his pure bloodline. Unlike her, whose skin remained unmarked, another sign of her defect. "Daughter," he said, the word sounding more like a title than a term of affection. "The arrangements are complete. The human ambassador has accepted our terms." "So quickly?" Lyra asked, surprise breaking through her careful mask. "Humans are eager for our technology," Theron said with a dismissive wave. "They would accept a rock as a bride if it meant getting access to our star drives." Lyra lowered her eyes. "And they know of my condition." "They know you are Barren, yes. Their ambassador, James Miller, understands this is a political union only. No heir is expected." The Emperor's voice carried the familiar sting of disappointment. For 10 years, Lyra had been paired with the finest males of the Empire. For 10 years, the royal doctors had tried everything to help her conceive. Nothing worked. Her body rejected her own kind, a genetic flaw that marked her as defective among a people who valued genetic perfection above all. "The human arrives tomorrow," Theron continued. "You will be ready. You will be gracious. You will represent the Empire with dignity, despite your flaws." "Yes, Father," Lyra said, the words practiced and hollow. James Miller stared at the document on his desk, reading it for the 10th time. The terms hadn't changed. Diplomatic marriage to Princess Lyra of the Astral Empire. Permanent relocation to the neutral diplomatic station between Earth and astral space. Full ambassadorial duties. "They're basically exiling her," he muttered to his assistant, Tom, "and us along with her." Tom shrugged. "The brass says it's our best shot at getting astral technology. Their medical advances alone could save millions of lives." James ran a hand through his brown hair. At 40, he had never expected to become a husband, especially not to an alien princess. But as a career diplomat with no family ties, he was the perfect candidate for this unusual assignment. "She's barren," he said. "That's why they're getting rid of her. Apparently, that's a big deal in their culture." "Is it a deal breaker for you?" Tom asked. James shook his head. "I never planned on having kids anyway. This is for Earth, not for me." The next day, James stood in his best uniform at the spaceport, watching as the royal astral ship descended. It was beautiful, like liquid silver flowing through the air. When Princess Lyra emerged, James felt his breath catch. She was tall and graceful, with skin the color of Earth's ocean and eyes like polished silver. She moved with perfect dignity, though he could see the tension in her shoulders. "Ambassador Miller," she said, her translator making her musical language understandable. "I am Princess Lyra. I come as promised by the treaty." James bowed, following the protocol he had studied. "Princess Lyra, Earth welcomes you. I am honored by this union." Her silver eyes studied him, clearly searching for signs of mockery or disgust. Finding none, she seemed slightly confused. "Our ship to the diplomatic station leaves in 1 hour," James said. "Would you like to rest before we depart?" "No," Lyra said. "I would prefer to leave immediately. There is nothing for me here." The sadness in her voice was unmistakable, despite the mechanical translation. James felt a surge of sympathy for this alien woman, cast aside by her people for something she couldn't control. "Then we'll leave now," he said gently. "Our new life awaits." Neither knew that new life would soon take on a meaning neither of them could possibly imagine. The diplomatic station hung in space like a giant metal flower, its petals open to catch the light of the nearby star. Inside, James and Lyra stood in awkward silence as the station manager showed them to their new home. "This entire wing is yours," the manager said, waving at the spacious living area. "Kitchen there, meeting rooms through that door, and personal quarters at the end of the hall. 2 bedrooms, he added with a meaningful look. "As requested." James nodded. "Thank you." When the manager left, Lyra walked to the large window that showed the stars. Her back was straight, her shoulders tense. "You can have whichever bedroom you prefer," James said. Lyra turned, surprise clear in her silver eyes. "You are not demanding the marriage be completed." James shook his head. "This is a political arrangement. I won't force anything on you." "Unusual," Lyra said, studying him. "In the Empire, even political marriages require proof of attempts at reproduction." "Well, we're not in the Empire," James said, "and humans do things differently." For the first time, Lyra's perfect posture relaxed slightly. "I will take the room with the view of the stars." 3 weeks passed. James and Lyra circled each other like cautious animals, polite but distant. They shared meals in silence, worked separately on their diplomatic duties, and retreated to their rooms early each night. One evening, James found Lyra staring at a message on her data pad, her face tight with pain. "Bad news?" he asked. "My younger sister has become pregnant," Lyra said, her voice flat. "The Emperor says it proves the defect is only in me, not in our family line." James sat down across from her. "I'm sorry." "Why be sorry? It is truth. I am defective." She touched her smooth blue skin where the royal markings should have appeared. "My body rejects my own kind." "That doesn't make you defective," James said, "just different." Lyra looked at him with confusion. "In the Empire, different is defective. On Earth, different is just different." James smiled. "Some of our best people were different." Lyra tilted her head. "Your people do not value genetic perfection." "We tried that road once. It led to terrible places." James leaned forward. "We learned to value diversity instead." "A strange concept," Lyra said, but her eyes showed interest rather than dismissal. The next day, James found a small object on the kitchen table. It was a star map, beautifully crafted from some shimmering material. "It shows Earth's position in relation to the astral empire," Lyra said, appearing silently as she often did. "I thought you might like it." "It's beautiful," James said, genuinely pleased. "Thank you." That small gift broke something between them. At dinner, Lyra asked about Earth customs. James explained human holidays, showing pictures on his datapad. When he described Christmas trees, Lyra's silver eyes widened with delight. "You bring plants inside your homes." "Voluntarily." James laughed. "We even decorate them." "Fascinating," Lyra whispered. In turn, James asked about astral traditions. Lyra spoke of the moon dance, performed when all 3 moons aligned. She described the crystal cities and the singing lakes of her homeworld. "Would you show me?" James asked. "The moon dance." Lyra hesitated, then stood. "The movements are precise," she warned. As she began to dance, her body flowing like water, James watched in awe. She was graceful and strong, her movements telling a story he couldn't understand but could feel. When she finished, he applauded. "Beautiful," he said. Lyra's blue cheeks darkened slightly. "I was never the best dancer." "My sister." "I wasn't comparing you to anyone else," James interrupted gently. "I was just appreciating you." Lyra stared at him, confusion and something like hope in her eyes. "No one has ever just appreciated me before." That night, for the first time, they both lingered in the common area, neither rushing to the solitude of their rooms. 2 strangers, beginning to see each other as people rather than political pawns. 2 months passed on the diplomatic station. The awkward silence between James and Lyra had turned into comfortable conversation. They worked together during the day, handling communications between Earth and the astral empire. At night, they shared meals and stories. "Your music is so strange," Lyra said one evening as James played an old Earth song for her. "It does not follow proper mathematical patterns." James smiled. "That's what makes it interesting. It's not perfect, but it makes you feel something." "Feel," Lyra repeated thoughtfully. "The Empire teaches that feelings are less important than logic." "And what do you think?" James asked. Lyra's silver eyes met his. "I think I have felt more alive in these 2 months than in my entire life in the Emperor's palace." James felt something warm spread through his chest at her words. Their comfortable routine was broken the next day when an urgent message arrived from Earth. A trade ship had been attacked near astral space. Both sides blamed the other. "This could start a war," James said, reading the reports. Lyra's face showed rare fear. "The Emperor will not back down if he believes Earth is at fault." They worked through the night, analyzing data and sending messages. James was impressed by Lyra's sharp mind and diplomatic skill. She knew exactly how to phrase things to make her father listen. When Lyra deciphered the ship's damaged logs, they discovered the truth. A third party, pirates using stolen technology, was responsible for the attack. "We need to get this information to both governments immediately," James said. For 3 days, they barely slept, coordinating a joint Earth astral mission to catch the pirates. When success finally came, their diplomatic station received the news first. "We did it," James said, exhausted but smiling. Lyra's eyes shone with pride. "We prevented a war." In that moment of shared victory, something changed between them. James saw not an alien princess, but a partner he trusted and admired. Lyra saw not a human diplomat, but a man who valued her mind and treated her as an equal. That night, they celebrated with a special meal. James found a bottle of wine he had been saving for a special occasion. Though Lyra could only have a small sip due to her different biology, she enjoyed the ceremony of clinking glasses. "To peace," James said. "To partnership," Lyra added. Their eyes met across the table. Silence fell, but it was different now, charged with something neither had expected. "James," Lyra said softly, "in my culture, to work together as we did, it is considered a deep bond." "In mine too," he replied. Later, neither could say who moved first. But in the dimmed lights of their shared living space, James touched Lyra's face with gentle fingers. Her blue skin was warm under his touch. "Is this allowed?" he whispered. "I don't care if it is," she answered. Their kiss was hesitant at first, two different species learning each other. But then something clicked into place, like puzzle pieces that weren't supposed to fit together but somehow did. That night, they crossed a bridge neither had planned to build. As James held Lyra close, skin against skin, blue against tan, they both knew this was no longer just a political arrangement. "This is impossible," Lyra whispered afterward, tracing the outline of his face in wonder. "My people and yours." "Maybe the impossible just hasn't been tried enough," James replied. They fell asleep in each other's arms, content in the knowledge that whatever came next, they would face it together. Neither suspected that the true impossibility was yet to come, one that would shake the foundations of both their worlds. 3 weeks after their night together, Lyra felt strange. Her body was changing in ways she didn't understand. Every morning, she woke feeling sick. Food that once pleased her now made her stomach turn. Her energy drained quickly, leaving her tired by midday. "Perhaps you should see the medical unit," James suggested one morning after finding her resting her head against the cool wall of their bathroom. "It is nothing," Lyra insisted, "just a small imbalance." But when she nearly fainted during a video call with Earth officials, James put his foot down. "We're going to the medical bay." Now, the station's doctor was human, Dr. Adams, with limited knowledge of astral physiology. He ran basic tests while Lyra sat stiffly on the examination table. "I'll need to consult with an astral physician," Dr. Adams said, looking confused at the results. "Your readings are unusual." The call to the astral empire brought a stern-faced, blue-skinned doctor onto the screen. He asked Lyra questions in their native language, his expression growing more alarmed with each answer. "Impossible," the astral doctor finally said in the common language. "The tests must be wrong." "What tests?" James asked, growing worried. The doctors ignored him, speaking rapidly about hormone levels and cellular changes. Finally, Dr. Adams turned to them both, his face showing shock. "According to these readings," he said slowly, "Princess Lyra is pregnant." The room went silent. Lyra stared at the doctor as if he had spoken in an unknown language. "That cannot be," she said finally. "I am barren. My body rejects astral seed. Everyone knows this. It appears," Dr. Adams said carefully, "that your body doesn't reject human seed." James sat down hard on a nearby chair. "But our species are completely different. How is this possible?" The astral doctor on the screen was frantically reviewing data. "It should not be possible. Unless..." His eyes widened. "The ancient texts speak of compatibility tests performed incorrectly. What if Her Highness was never truly barren? What if she was simply incompatible with astral males?" Lyra's hand moved to rest on her stomach. "You mean I can bear children, just not astral children?" "We need more tests," both doctors said at once. For the next week, Lyra and James lived in a state of shock as medical teams from both worlds examined her. Special equipment was rushed to the station. Experts in cross-species biology were consulted. Finally, the head of the medical team called them both to a meeting. "It is confirmed," the doctor said. "Princess Lyra is 6 weeks pregnant with what appears to be a viable human astral hybrid, the first in recorded history." "How?" James asked. "Our DNA structures are different." "Not as different as we thought," the doctor explained. "We've discovered that astral reproductive cells have a unique ability to adapt to compatible genetic material, even from other species. Princess Lyra's particular genetic makeup makes her uniquely compatible with human DNA, while incompatible with astral DNA." "So I'm not defective," Lyra whispered. "I'm just meant for a different match." James took her hand. "What does this mean for the baby? Is it healthy?" The doctor nodded. "Preliminary scans show healthy development. The fetus has characteristics of both species, but they seem to be integrating well. It's truly remarkable." As they left the medical bay, Lyra and James walked in stunned silence. A child. They had created a child that both their worlds thought impossible. "The Emperor must be told," Lyra said finally. James nodded, knowing what this meant. Their private miracle was about to become very, very public. "Whatever happens," he said, squeezing her hand, "we face it together." Lyra's silver eyes met his, a new light shining in them. Together. Neither knew just how much they would need that unity in the days to come. Emperor Theron's face filled the large screen, his blue features twisted with shock and anger. Lyra stood tall beside James as they faced her father. "This is unnatural," the Emperor finally said. "An abomination." "It is a child," Lyra answered, her voice stronger than James had ever heard it. "Your grandchild." "No grandchild of mine would be half human," Theron spat. "You will return to the Empire immediately for medical correction." James stepped forward. "With all respect, Emperor, my wife will not be going anywhere." The Emperor's silver eyes narrowed. "Wife." The arrangement was political only. "Things have changed," James said, taking Lyra's hand. After the call ended, Lyra sank into a chair. "He will not accept this easily." James knelt beside her. "We'll figure it out." But the Emperor was not their only problem. The next day, James received a message from Earth. His superiors were demanding detailed reports on the pregnancy. They spoke of scientific importance and diplomatic advantage. "They want to study our baby," James said grimly. "As does the Empire," Lyra added. "We are caught between worlds that see our child as a tool, not a person." That night, the station's security system detected an unauthorized shuttle approaching. Station security stopped two astral agents trying to enter their quarters. They were carrying sedatives designed for astral physiology. The security chief told them. They planned to take the princess while she slept. 3 days later, the human diplomat visiting the station tried to pressure James into bringing Lyra to Earth for her safety. His real intentions became clear when he mentioned special research facilities. "We're not safe here," James realized. "Neither government can be trusted with our child." Lyra touched her stomach, which was just beginning to show a small bump. "Where can we go? The galaxy is divided between our peoples." James thought of his estranged sister, Lisa. She ran a remote research station on a small Earth colony, far from political centers. She had left mainstream society years ago, disgusted with government control. "I know a place," he said, "but we need to disappear quietly." Planning their escape took nerve-wracking days. They couldn't trust the regular shuttles or official channels. Finally, James contacted an old friend who operated independent trading ships. 3 days, his friend promised. "Be ready." On the night before their planned escape, Lyra received a surprise message from her father. His face appeared on their private screen, but something was different. He looked tired, older. "Daughter," he said, his voice low. "What I say now is not as emperor, but as your father. There are factions in the Empire who see your child as a threat to our genetic purity. They plan to eliminate both you and the unborn child." Lyra gasped. "You warned me against your own people." The Emperor's face showed conflict. "I have lived by our traditions for centuries, but you are my daughter, and perhaps this child is not the abomination I first thought." "What changed your mind?" James asked. "Our ancient records," Theron answered. "I had our historians search for any mention of cross-species breeding. They found references to a time before the Empire, when our people may have interbred with others. The records were deliberately obscured." "Why tell us this?" Lyra asked. "Because despite everything, I do not wish to see you dead." The Emperor's eyes flashed. "Now go. Hide. Keep my daughter and my grandchild safe." The screen went dark. James and Lyra looked at each other, stunned by this unexpected ally. "We leave tomorrow," James said firmly, "and we trust no one." Outside their window, the stars seemed colder now, hiding dangers in their vast darkness. But somewhere out there was safety. They had to find it, for the sake of the impossible child growing within Lyra. The small research station sat nestled in a valley on a colony planet. Mountains rose around it, protecting it from the harsh winds that swept the plains beyond. For 3 months, James and Lyra had found safety here, living in a small cabin near his sister's laboratory. Lisa Miller was nothing like her diplomat brother. She was blunt, suspicious of authority, and initially wary of Lyra. But the first time she used her medical equipment to scan Lyra's growing belly, everything changed. "This is incredible," Lisa whispered, looking at the screen that showed the developing baby. "Look at the brain patterns. They're unlike anything I've ever seen." James peered at the screen. "Is that normal? Is the baby okay?" "More than okay," Lisa said. "These readings suggest extremely high intelligence. And look here." She pointed to different parts of the image. "The lungs are developing with characteristics of both species, better oxygen processing than either humans or astrals have alone." Lyra touched the screen gently. "What does it mean?" "It means," Lisa said, "that your child might be more than just a mix of 2 species. It might be an evolutionary leap forward." As Lyra's pregnancy progressed, Lisa conducted more scans. Each one showed something remarkable. The baby had the best features of both species, human adaptability and creativity combined with astral intelligence, and physical resilience. The child can survive in environments that would kill either of us, Lisa explained one day. Its brain can process information faster than our best computers. This isn't just a hybrid, it's something new. At night, Lyra would sit outside under the stars, her stomach now large and round. James often found her there, her blue hand resting on her belly as she sang soft astral songs to their unborn child. She kicked again, Lyra said as James sat beside her. "She knows your presence." "She?" James asked, smiling. "Lisa's scans confirmed it yesterday. We're having a daughter." James placed his hand over Lyra's. "A daughter," he repeated, his voice filled with wonder. Their peaceful hiding couldn't last forever. 6 months into their stay, Lisa's security system detected approaching ships. 2 of them, Lisa said, checking her monitors. 1 astral design, 1 Earth military. James's heart sank. "They found us." "The mountain caves," Lisa said quickly. "There's a hidden medical facility there. I built it for emergencies. Go now." As they prepared to flee, Lisa handed them a data drive. "All the research on your baby. I discovered something else. Genetic markers in both your species that suggest a common ancestor, far back in time. Your baby isn't unnatural. She might be a return to what both our peoples once were." James hugged his sister. "Thank you for everything." "I'll hold them off," Lisa promised. "Now go." The cave facility was small but well equipped. For 2 weeks, they hid there while Lisa fed false information to both groups searching for them. During that time, Lyra's pregnancy advanced rapidly. "The baby is growing faster than either human or astral children," she said, concern in her voice. "Lisa's notes say it's normal for this hybrid," James assured her. "Everything is developing perfectly." One evening, as they ate dinner in their hidden sanctuary, a message arrived from an unexpected source. The Emperor's personal code flashed on their communication device. "My agents tell me that moderates are gaining power in both governments." Theron's message read, "Many now see the potential benefits of human-astral cooperation. Your child has become a symbol of possibility, not threat. It may soon be safe for you to emerge from hiding." Lyra looked at James, hope and fear mixing in her silver eyes. "Could it be true?" "Maybe," James said. "But we wait until after our daughter is born. We take no chances with her safety." Lyra nodded, placing her hands protectively over her belly. Their daughter moved beneath her touch, as if responding to her mother's determination to keep her safe. The bridge between worlds grew stronger inside her every day. The pain came suddenly in the middle of the night. Lyra woke with a gasp, her hands clutching her swollen belly. "James," she whispered urgently, "it's time." James jumped from the bed, fully alert. "I'll get the medical equipment ready." They had prepared for this moment for weeks, studying both human and astral birthing procedures. Lisa had trained them on the emergency medical systems in the cave facility. But no amount of preparation could have readied them for what happened next. As Lyra's labor progressed rapidly, the cave's sensors began to flash warnings. "Ships approaching," James said, reading the alert. "Many ships." "Who?" Lyra asked between painful contractions. James checked the identification signals. "Both Earth and astral vessels. At least a dozen." There was no time to worry about the approaching danger. Lyra's labor was moving faster than either human or astral births normally did. Within hours, the contractions were coming one after another. "I can see the head," James said, his voice steady despite his fear. "Blue skin with patches of pink. She's coming, Lyra. Keep pushing." Outside, they could hear the distant sound of ships landing. Voices called through the mountain passages, some human, some with the musical tones of astral speech. "Find them," someone shouted. "The child must be secured." Lyra pushed harder, determination in her silver eyes. "She will not be secured by anyone," she growled. "She is ours." With one final powerful effort, Lyra delivered their daughter into James's waiting hands. The baby's first cry echoed through the cave, not the wail of a human infant or the trilling sound of an astral newborn, but something uniquely her own. "She's perfect," James whispered, laying the child on Lyra's chest. The baby girl had blue skin like her mother, but with a warm undertone that gave it a purple hue. Her eyes, when she opened them briefly, flashed silver with specks of brown. 10 perfect fingers, 10 perfect toes, and on her blue-purple skin, faint patterns were already visible, similar to the royal markings of the astral nobility, but with a uniquely human swirl to them. The sounds of approaching people grew louder. James picked up a medical laser, ready to defend his family. But the first person to enter the cave chamber was Emperor Theron himself, followed closely by the President of Earth's diplomatic corps. Both leaders stopped, staring at the scene before them. "Stand back," James warned. "We won't let you take her." Emperor Theron raised his hands in a gesture of peace. "We come not to take, but to protect," he said, his eyes fixed on the child in Lyra's arms. "Is that my granddaughter?" The Earth President stepped forward. "A joint protective force was assembled when we received intelligence that extremist factions planned to attack during the birth. We are here to ensure your safety." Lyra looked at her father with suspicion. Why the change of heart? Theron moved closer, his royal demeanor softening as he gazed at the child. The ancient records Lisa Miller discovered were confirmed by our own historians. Humans and astrals were once one people, seated across the stars by beings who came before us. We forgot our common origins. Your child. His voice caught with emotion. Your child reminds us of what we once were and could be again. We propose a new treaty, the President added, with your daughter as symbolic heir to both civilizations. James lowered his weapon slowly. Her name is Nova, he said, and she will choose her own path when she's ready. Theron nodded, then did something unexpected. He knelt before Lyra and the baby. "Princess Nova," he said formally, "first of her kind, heir to stars and earth, bridge between worlds. I pledge the protection of the astral empire to you and your parents." The Earth President followed suit, kneeling on the cave floor, and the protection of Earth as well. As if understanding the significance of the moment, baby Nova opened her eyes fully for the first time. Silver and Brown gazed out at the representatives of two civilizations kneeling before her. The impossible child had become the inevitable future.